The choruses on this track are just so insane. I should know to expect that at this point, though. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Molly, and in today's video I'm going to be reacting to Deftones' first studio album, Adrenaline. So this is kind of a little series, you could call it, that I've been doing here on my channel where I react to all of Deftones' albums, and so far I've reacted to White Pony and Around the Fur. So I'm kind of moving backward in their discography. So we're at the start now with Adrenaline, and I'm really interested to see how the Deftones kind of started their whole musical evolution, what their first album is going to sound like. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting. I'm super excited for this reaction, so let's get into it. Alright, so Adrenaline. This is Deftones' first studio album. It came out in 1995, and this is the album that started it all, so I am excited to give this one a listen. So track 1 is called Bored. Alright, we have some great guitars right off the start. This is a very minimalistic track so far in terms of the instrumentals. It's really just that guitar going on. Definitely reminiscent of Around the Fur, I would say. Kind of a similar sound. I just love this guitar. It's pretty awesome. Every time I start listening to a Deftones album, it's always just, I don't know how else to put it except like, it's just, I know it's a Deftones album. You know, it just has that energy to it. Yeah, this is a very simplistic track in terms of the instrumentals. Like it's more stripped back. Get bored? Is that what he's saying? Typical Deftones, we have that screaming toward the end. It starts out slow and then it just slowly becomes this bombastic display of sound. Well, my friends, that was Bored, the first track on Adrenaline, and I loved that track. That was great. I feel like I always say the same things on these reaction videos, but like, this is my genuine reaction. Every time I listen to a Deftones album, it always just, I don't know, it brings this energy that I don't get from a lot of other artists, and every album has had it. But I love that track, Bored. That was a great opener, and just the guitar on that was awesome. We're only one track in, and that's already a favorite of mine, for sure. Alright, so track 2 is called Blindfold. Interesting sound effects going on. This is interesting. This isn't exactly rap, but it's not singing either. Yeah, so far I'm feeling like this first album is more stripped back. There's just more minimalistic instrumentals going on. And then the choruses are just like screamed out. I knew there was something coming. Track 2, Blindfold. That one definitely was energetic. And again, kind of just a very like guitar, instrumental heavy track. On White Pony and even Around the Fur more, I was picking up more sound effects going on. This album sounds more like traditional instrumental, if that makes sense. Like I'm not hearing as much of that sound effect or echoiness going on in the background. But yeah, that's just what I'm picking up so far with the sound of Adrenaline. Alright, moving on to track 3, we have 1 Week. Again, we got that kind of low, stripped back bass going on. Yeah, this album is a lot more just reined in than the other two. We could be so bored, so they're tying in that whole boredom theme again. I always look forward to the choruses of Deftones songs. I never know what to expect. The chorus of this track is really, really good. It's interesting though, the verses are so minimalistic. It's really just that one guitar, like the bass going on, and then Chino's kind of just really subdued vocals, and that's pretty much it. And then we got that screaming again. Then it just fades out. That was a good one. I liked that track a lot. And I kind of just really liked the back and forth between like the intense choruses, but then the verses were so minimalistic. And that guitar just throughout the entire track was awesome. All right, so moving on to track 4, we have Nosebleed. Nice energetic little start going on here. Interesting vocals, okay. Yeah, I've noticed this on all of Deftones albums, but on this album, I'm noticing the most like disparity between really quiet vocals and then really intense vocals. And it just goes back and forth. Alright, so we have some typical Deftones, like complete change up going on here. Now this sounds like a different track entirely. Interesting sound effects going on in the background too. Oh, and then we have that guitar coming back. It's so quiet at certain parts. Like Chino's essentially like barely whispering. Disappear. It's interesting too because it sounds like the song is disappearing. And then that intensity just comes back full force. Well, that was Nosebleed. That track was super, super interesting. I just loved the back and forth between extremely, extremely reined in quiet moments where, like I said, it was almost like Chino was just whispering the lyrics. Very, very minimalistic instrumentals. And then the chorus and the loud aggressive parts would just come in full force out of nowhere. The back and forth between that was really cool. I liked that track a lot, Nosebleed. All right, Lifter, track 5 is up next. So far, all of the tracks on this album kind of have a very similar guitar sound through all of them. It's kind of making it more of a consistent album, which is cool. Like it's tying all of the tracks together with that guitar. Great percussion on this one. I'm loving the drums. Okay, we've got some vocal distortion going on. It's kind of the first time I've picked up on that on this album so far. I can't get over the guitar on this song. It's so good. I've got that distortion again toward the end here. And again, we just have like that really quiet whispered vocals, and then it just, all of this screaming comes out. That seems to be a huge theme on this album. So that was track 5, Lifter. I think the standout on that track for me was that guitar with the percussion and everything. Just amazing instrumentals on that track, honestly. And also just that push and pull between really, really quiet and really, really loud. I think on Adrenaline, even more so than White Pony or Around the Fur, Chino's vocals at certain parts are extremely, extremely like subdued and reined in. I'm just picking up on that on a lot of these tracks so far. It's really cool. I kind of like it. And then moving on, track 6 is Root. We've got that great guitar again. The instrumentals I just love. They're so, so good. Yep, here comes the chorus. It's so interesting. I made a comment in the White Pony reaction that it sounded like they were playing in this big warehouse and there was like this echoing sound going on. And this album, like it's the opposite. It sounds like it's really enclosed and more intimate. That was Root, track 6. Again, great energy behind that one. Yeah, I feel like all of the tracks on this album so far kind of follow a similar pattern. They start with some great instrumentals, and then you got like the really quiet verses, the really loud choruses that come in, and then the bridge toward the end is just kind of quiet, and then it ends with like a big, like loud finale. All right, moving on. Track 7 is 7 Words. Again, just great guitar and drums going on here. I love it. Oh, this one's a little bit different. We got that pattern again, like quieter verse and then just loud chorus going on. Yeah, these vocals are really interesting. Yeah, there's definitely more of that like kind of hip hop style going on this track. The choruses on this track are just so insane. I should know to expect that at this point though. Wow, that was 7 Words. Crazy intense song, really in your face, great instrumentals again, and that one I was definitely picking up on a lot of those hip hop vibes going on. Not really like traditional singing, but not really rapping either, something kind of in between. And then moving on, track 8 is Birthmark. That great guitar again. Yeah, Chino's vocals on this album are so quiet. All right, it's building up. And then we got that chorus. Bored. Okay, they're keeping that theme through this whole album, the whole boredom thing. I really like this track. There's kind of this menacing quality to the verses, and then the chorus just comes in and it's awesome. It's always just a fun little surprise when all the intensity comes in at the end. That was Birthmark, track 8. I think that is probably one of my favorites so far. Again, a track with some of those really quiet, reined-in moments, and then accentuated by just the loud, aggressive choruses, and then at the end again. I love when Deftones does that. Just kind of goes back and forth a lot. And then track 9, we have Engine Number 9. Seems to be a theme on this album. So track 7, they called 7 Words, and then track 9 is Engine Number 9. Again, right off the start, we have those guitars. We're back to the like more hip hop style here. This is definitely one of the louder, more in-your-face tracks on this album so far. Okay, it's quieting down a little bit here. The instrumentals on all of these songs are just so good. Yeah, this is one of the few tracks on this album that doesn't really have a lot of quiet, restrained moments going on. It's pretty much just all out there intensity. And then we have some distortion at the end. Very cool song. That one had a lot of those hip hop vibes going on. Super just pumped up. Brought the energy for sure. Yeah, Engine Number 9, that one was great. All right, so up next we have track 10. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it Fireal? Fireal? Either way, let's give this one a play. I don't hear anything off the beginning of this. Okay, here we go. That took like 15 seconds to start. This is the first track on this album where I'm kind of picking up on some of that echoey sound that you later hear on especially White Pony. And there's some background noises going on too, I think. And we just have like a screeching chorus going on. I think this is the track on this album so far that is the least adrenaline sounding track, if that makes sense. This chorus though, it's like a cat screeching. This is different. Now it's more melodic. We're really getting a full range of Chino's vocals on this one. You've got like some whispered parts, and then you have these middle parts of the verse where his voice sounds more normal, you could say. And then we just have this screaming intensity on the choruses. And then we just have some kind of static crackles, and then it ends with more silence for a few seconds. Interesting. So that was track 10, Fireal. That's the first track on this album that I've thought to myself, like, this song sounds different from the rest of the tracks. Not to say all the first 9 tracks are bad. They're awesome. It's just they all kind of followed a similar pattern, but track 10, Fireal, that one was just different. A little bit longer running time, kind of bringing back some of that echoey quality that I know later on they kind of embrace that sound more. And last up, we have the closing track, track 11, called First. Very quiet start. We just have some kind of acoustic guitar going on. Okay, we've got some build-up going on. And then we have the big breakout moment of the song. Is this going to be an all instrumental track? We're like almost halfway in and I haven't heard any vocals. Now it's completely quiet. Oh, and then we got some very, very, very minimalistic instrumentals coming back. Okay, we have some vocalizations coming in now. This is such an interesting track. It really is. Ooh, that's an interesting effect. It almost sounds like a didgeridoo, like that Australian instrument. Wow, First, very interesting end to this album. Almost entirely instrumental, very subdued, quiet. I honestly wasn't expecting a song like that to finish off this album, especially when I started listening to Adrenaline. Very cool. I liked it. Alright, so that is going to wrap up my reaction to Deftones' first studio album, Adrenaline. Of all of the Deftones albums I've listened to so far, this is definitely the album that uses the least like sound effects. It honestly sounds the most acoustic, if that makes sense. Like it's pretty much just the drums, the guitars, the vocals, and that's pretty much it. I would say probably my favorite tracks on Adrenaline, my favorite I think is the first track, Bored. Right out of the gate, it just sets the tone for this whole album, but I also really appreciate just the instrumentals on Root and Nosebleed also. And I also really liked Birthmark. I think that one's up there for me too. So I've listened to the first 3 albums that Deftones has released. I definitely can hear similarities, but they're definitely very different as well. But I enjoy all of them. Not sure which album I'm going to be doing next. I don't know if I want to go in order or if I want to like skip to the end of their discography just to change it up a bit. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do it. But as usual, thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned and I will see you next time.